Chiefs Texans, like I said, last team to three-peat in sports was the Los Angeles Lakers. 2000, 2002, they beat the New Jersey Nets. Something that in my early junior high gambling years, I won a good $50 off of them. This is how you know people are stupid eighth graders, because who fuck will bet on Ty McCullough, Check and Shaq? Like what kind of shit is that? $50 when you're in eighth grade is like a couple racks. But so the Chiefs are trying to become the first NFL team to do that. And they're gonna be going up against the Houston Texans. Houston Texans have had a very average regular season due to all the hype they had coming in. A lot of people had them in the AFC Championship game, some had them in the Super Bowl, which they obviously still have a chance to do. They had CJ Stroud in MVP talk, and I think they were underdogs last week as a home team against the Chargers. That
The
was
Chargers,
the only game. That was the only game that I predicted wrong last week. Chargers and Texans. So that's what I'm gonna say about this game. Obviously, I'm going Chiefs. I mean, that's it. I think America, even though America has Chiefs fatigue, you want the Chiefs to win just so you can see them go against either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen next week. You don't want to see CJ Stroud interrupting that potential matchup next week. So I got the Chiefs, but I do think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game because that defensive front that they have out there in Houston, and honestly, the secondary too. I like Stingley. He's been great. He had a great game last week. Will Anderson Jr., monster year, monster postseason. Now it's going to be much different going against this Chiefs offensive line than it will be against going up that Chargers offensive line. The biggest question mark here is what CJ Stroud are you going to get? I know they won last week, but CJ wasn't remarkable. He got the job done, but he threw a couple BLTs. And one of them that should have counted with the Derwin James pick that they took away. That's going to be the problem going up against this Chiefs team. But I think it'll be close. But the storyline here to me is, can they be the team that gets the closest? Because if they win on Sunday, they get further than the last team who tried to three-peat, which was the New England Patriots. They lost in the divisional round in 2005. So I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm gonna say 24-14. I think it's be a close game today. Maybe a field goal at the end gets them to a double-digit lead. But I'm gonna say 24-14 Chiefs. That's why I'm gonna go with that one. Courtney, what you feel about this game? Who you taking?
Yeah, like you said, I think it might be a lot closer than people think. I'm hoping that at least of all the sort of underdog matchups, this is probably the most interesting for me. I wish it weren't in Kansas City, but I don't know. I think you might be right, Scott. I think it might be closer than we think. It just depends, like you said, on which version of CJ Stroud we're going to get. Shit. I think it might be decided by a field goal.
Okay. I like that.
Think it's gonna come down to Bucker?
I mean, that would unfortunately be the way that it's going. Yeah, sadly. Or if I'm like Doctor Strange, okay, and I've simulated how many different ways this is going to go. There are a couple of instances in my mind. Defense plays like they did last week. Again, I know the Chiefs are very different from the Chargers. Defense plays like they did last week. Couple turnovers go your way. I mean, don't get me wrong. Patrick Mahomes can throw a BLT as well. Let's not get it twisted. Hey, get a little turnover. Could be Fairbarn hitting that game-winning field goal.
Kaini. Yeah, I agree with you guys that it's going to be a closer game. The Chiefs won 27-19. Excuse me. Back when they played, what was that? A couple weeks ago. What was that week? That was Christmas week or the week before Christmas, December 21st. It came down to the turnovers. CJ did throw 2 picks and the Chiefs played clean with the ball. I believe that was one of the first games back for for Hollywood Brown and for, Isaiah Pacheco. So seeing where they are in round 2 in that matchup, I think that they're going to prove vital. The number one thing that just stands out for me is where the Chiefs, where they rank in DVOA as far as pressure rate and blitz rate. They're number 6 in DVOA and pressure rate, bringing pressure 29.8% of the time. They're number They're number 6 in blitz rate, blitzing at 35.4% of the time. I think you're still looking at a CJ Stroud with limited weapons. You got Mixon. I know he's a little banged up and he should be playing tomorrow, but you got a banged up running back. You got Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, and then you're going to have to lean on some of those, second-year guys like, John Mechie. And I just think, in Arrowhead, that's going to be a tall feat for the Houston Texans. Give me the Chiefs 26-17.
Yeah, and Bobby Slow needs to actually use Mixon in the first half. Like
you might have to like rely on him.
Yeah.
He's got to be somebody that touches the ball probably 30 times combined, whether that's catching and rushing, to like really keep it close.
Yeah.
I want to just mention this now because it's something that, once we get into the discussion about the Ravens and the Bills, if the Bills lose, it'll kind of be like, oh, Josh Allen, he didn't have that much to play with. The Chiefs are kind of in the same position offensively. So I'm curious to see if that energy will be matched if by some, miraculous way that the Texans pull this out. I'm curious to see if that will also if he'll get that same benefit of the doubt, Patrick Mahomes, that is.
I think they're starting to use Xavier Worthy like the right way. And I think they're starting to connect on some plays that they might have not had earlier in the year. And I think that's kind of been the key, opening up the field with Xavier Worthy. And then when you get, Pacheco's going to run extremely hard. And then, being able to get in somebody mixed in like Hollywood Brown. He's been throwing a lot to his other tight ends and like Noah Gray. And you still got Travis Kelce. I think we might see one of those performances where he's just hitting everybody across the field. Like I'm just looking at the box score from that game where they played. And, Mahomes was spreading the ball all over. Worthy had 7 receptions. Samaje Perine had 3. Hollywood Brown had 5. Hopkins had 4. Kelce had 5. Kareem Hunt had 2. Noah Gray 1. Pacheco 1. Like, this is somebody he's going to be able to put it all over the field whenever he wants to. It's going to come down to, can they hold on to the ball? Because this Texans defense has been getting pressure and has been causing some turnover.
That was the game that
what's his name died. Yeah.
So Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs out, but Nico Collins had a great game. This is going to be one of the games where if the Texans want to win,
game.
Yeah, right, 100%. They need a big Nico Collins and a big Joe Mixon game for them to have a chance. And even then, they worship the devil in Kansas City. That might not even matter.
I will say one stat. The Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites at home. 72%, or no, this is for Stafford. I'll save this for later.
Okay. Let's get into the nightcap on Saturday. This is a real interesting game here. Lions and Commanders, man. The Detroit Lions, they got a chance here to, make up for the wrongs of the NFC Championship game last year, and that is actually get to their first ever Super Bowl. But they got to beat a team that is, honestly, they have nothing to lose. And I usually hate saying, oh, you have nothing to lose when you're in the playoffs. Because technically, yes, you do. You don't know how many of these chances you're going to get. They're in the same division with the Eagles. So it's not like this is a shoe-in for them to be here every year. So I won't say they have nothing to lose, but they're playing with house money. I'll say that. They're playing with house money this week. I think you're going to see the most free football we've seen from Washington this year. And for the Lions, that's going to be scary. I think that the thing we saw from the defense 2 weeks ago when they played Minnesota was we started to see the decline of Sam Darnold that went into last Monday, a god-awful performance against the Los Angeles Rams. As we're seeing that it's going to be difficult now for that defense. It's so banged up, and you got to give props to Aaron Glenn. They've been playing well despite all the injuries. But now you're going up against Jaden Daniels. You're going up against Jaden Daniels, and the way they call the game for Jaden makes it so easy for him, and he's able to make those throws. I think one thing that killed the Buccaneers last year was not being able to stop him when he got on the run. Made those third downs very manageable. One thing we're not going to see in this game is probably a punt. Both Dans say fuck it. They do not care, Quinn or Campbell. And I'm with you, Orlando, in the chat. He said
I
Lions
agree.
better start out hot. Yeah, the Lions better come out and punch them in the mouth. If this is in the first quarter and it's a game, that you don't want them to get comfortable if you're the Detroit Lions. I think this is going to be one of two things. I think it's either going to be a blowout and they knock them out right away, or it's going to be very close. The way that we've seen Jaden Daniels play this year, the way we've seen the Commanders play this year, I just think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be very, very close. And I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I really, really do. I'm going to go. I think it's going to be a high scoring game too. I'm going to go Lions 31, Commanders 28. But it would not shock me if we're sitting here Monday and they won. And that's how dangerous Jaden Daniels is. And just the way the play calling has been, and just the way this defense for the Lions has played majority of this season with all of the injuries, I think it's going to be trouble. But the Lions need to establish the run right away. You got Demo back. Get him and Jahmyr Gibbs running the ball and get the ball to Amon-Ra, J-Mo, and just do your game. If they play that game, the Commanders ain't got a shot. But if the Commanders defense is a couple stops, it's going to be an interesting game, man. But I'm going to go Lions 31-28. Courtney, what you got?
Yeah, we are locked in together. I know I just talked about a legacy game for Nico Collins. Man, I want a Terry McLaurin legacy game here. I would love to see Jaden Daniels really get to Terry McLaurin early and often. And I'm still, Brian Robinson. You never know what you're going to get, and they're probably going to try to stop him. But man, fuck it, give me Washington. Listen, like you said, you got double doses of fucking crazy on both sidelines. We're not seeing a whole lot of punts in this game. And if anything, Commanders, you're really playing with house money, so why not go for it? Go for it. Send it.
Yeah.
That's what got you here. What's the difference between losing close or losing in an embarrassing fashion and getting blown out? You weren't really supposed to be here to begin with.
And then one thing you don't want, I'll say this and we'll go to Mikey. You do not want the ball in Jaden Daniels' hand at the end of the game.
Correct.
We've seen this season. That's some shit you just don't want. So take care of that. Go ahead, Mikey.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Lions to win, but I will take the Commanders to cover the 9.5 points, if that makes sense. I don't think it's gonna be as close as you had it, Scott, 31-28. But I do think we're probably looking at a touchdown game. Maybe we get like a backdoor cover. Maybe the Commanders score a TD in garbage time. But honestly, the Commanders secondary is there to be had. Yep. Ben Johnson is out here. This is every game is an audition for him. They're back full strength. I think people are completely forgetting that David Montgomery is back. And just that element that it adds in the running game and in the passing game. He's had one of his best years in his career receiving the ball this year, in that Ben Johnson system. So I'm going to take the Lions. It's just interesting because, I tried to see who the Lions have played with a similar skill set to Jaden Daniels this year. And I can only go back to week 3 where they really had to face a true kind of dual threat QB, and that was in Kyler Murray. They won 20-13, and he had 207 yards passing, but he did have, 45 yards rushing. And I think that's something that they're going to have to limit, Jaden Daniels too. I think we're going to see kind of what they did to Caleb, that Thanksgiving game. If Jaden Daniels gets out there, they are going to try to crack him. And I don't put it past them for them to take the 15-yard penalty if they
they'll do that 100%.
If they lay a good hit on them, just because you got to send a message. But that place is going to be loud. They're going to be going crazy. Their defense really, I think they're number 28 in DVOA. Their defense, even though they're top 10 in DVOA and offense, but their defense is there to be had. I think a lot of people have a different perception of that game last week as well. The Bucs were able to move the ball on them. They just did not have the ball that often. The Commanders really controlled the clock and controlled the possessions, and it took the field goal for them to win. So I think this Lions team is going to go ahead and put up points. I'm looking at about 35 to 38 points on the Lions side, and maybe we're looking at, 38-27, 35-27 type game.
Definitely. We're gonna bring the homie Kyron Samuels in just a minute. But we're gonna go over the Sunday games. Eagles Rams. Eagle fans are mad at me this week, but for what I said on the show on Monday, from the way that Jalen Hurts performed, there was all in the YouTube comments. Had a couple people come at me on Twitter. Hey man, look, I'm just telling you what I see, bro. Of what I was not pleased by the performance on Sunday, even though I'm glad y'all did beat the Packers. It should not have been that close. This is a dangerous game here for the Eagles, man, because I really love how the Rams been playing. I've been love how the Rams been playing. Me and Mikey been saying this for a couple months now about the Rams play. Jared Verse playing out of his mind. Matthew Stafford is just in that mode, and it's funny because the Bears win against them early this season. I 100% know they would have lost now if Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua was playing, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm gonna give Philly the benefit of the doubt here. I don't want to, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they are at home. Also because Jalen Hurts ain't played it a month. I'll shoot him some bail. But this is, again, we talk about hot starts. This is one right here. You need to come out a hot start. You don't want the Rams to establish their offense. You don't want the run again to get going. And that defense, they're going to be tested. I think this is going to be not a high-scoring game. I think it'll be like, regular score that you usually see. I'm going to go Eagles. I think Eagles will win. I'm going to say Eagles win 21-14. I think it'll be one of them type of games. I think all these games this week are going to be close. I'm going to say 21-14 Eagles, but it would not surprise me whatsoever if the Rams were able to find a way to win this game. Courtney, what you got?
Yeah, I'm with you. And yeah, Jared Verse has been playing out of his mind. But my question is, you got to go into Philly and play this fucking football game. Why are you yapping about Eagles fans?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
You hate Eagles fans. Like, why would you ever throw gasoline on something that's quite literally already on fire? And I'm not trying to be insensitive. Maybe that's not the best analogy to use in reference to Los Angeles. Pardon me. But
the president of the United States said fire away in a press conference.
Fair. But also that man also probably doesn't know where he is.
He doesn't know what year it is right now. Yeah,
yeah, correct. So maybe he's not the best. Do you think, the questions that they ask people when they're like, if they think you have a concussion, do you think they ask him if he knows, like, with the flashlight?
Yeah, he says, fuck off on the president. And they leave him alone. But he only be that for
some days. I'm done.
Well, he only be that for 48 hours anyways. But yeah, go ahead.
But no, I got the Eagles. Hopefully, man, Jalen Hurts. Brother, please. I can't keep living like this. I feel like I'm constantly standing in a corner, like I'm fighting for you, bro. But like, you got to show me something. Because Matt Stafford has been playing as of late, like he could carve you up real quick. So yeah, give me the Eagles. But Jalen Hurts, man, he better not be on no bullshit. I don't like it. I'm not. It doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, he better not. Go ahead, Mikey. Who you got?
So what I meant to get to is 72% of quarterbacks that have a Super Bowl ring that are getting points in the playoffs end up covering. I believe the Rams are 6.5 point underdogs. And Matthew Stafford has been playing at an insane level the last few weeks. They're 6 point underdogs. I also look back at that game where the Rams boat raced in LA 37-20. The Eagles had 314 rushing yards against them that game, and they beat them by 17 with only 10 extra plays. I think this game is going to be a little bit closer because I don't think Jalen Hurts is really healthy. I think he showed that last week. I agree with you, Scott. I thought the offense looked dookie outside of, capitalizing on some short fields and the fact that Jordan Love looked worse. But Puka Nacua had over 120 yards receiving against them that last time. I think, now that he's healthy, you're going to get Tyler Higbee back, Kyren Williams. I think this is going to be a closer game. I'm going to take the Rams with the upset. I think the Rams are clicking late. And I think there's just a little bit of more question marks surrounding Jalen Hurts health. I don't expect this to be as high scoring of a game as it was in SoFi, but give me the Rams in an upset off a field goal.
I'm going on record. I'm rooting for the Rams, but I love Sean McVay. I'm a Sean McVay guy, and the Eagles fan, Philadelphia fans piss me off. I'm sorry. I'm double down on y'all. Piss me off. So yeah, I'm going for. I'm going for the Rams, but I think Eagles will go. Go ahead.
It's gonna be really interesting when you do the whole Vic Fangio versus Sean McVay, and Vic Fangio has known to get one up on Sean McVay, even back when he was, the Chicago Bears DC. He had some legendary performances against him. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how that plays out. But I think Jalen Hurts is gonna cough a few up. I think they're gonna put pressure on him, and I think it's gonna be a grind out game. I think it's gonna be better than what it looked like Packers Eagles. I think there might be some better offense going on, but I think when it gets late, it's gonna get close.
Man, Eagles offensive line. When I went back and looked at a little bit of that game. There's a size difference. Pause.
Yeah.
Maybe not pause. Like that. That's a big ass offensive line compared. And listen, I saw Jared Verse run over Jordan Mailata once. Okay, in that game, and I think he had one total pressure in that game against the Eagles. Versus, I think he's had like 3 total pressures in every other game this season, except for that one. Something to just keep in mind. But hey, listen. It's going to be a dogfight, but I think the Eagles are winning this game.
Final game of the weekend. This is the game that everybody is looking forward to. This is Bills Ravens. This will be in Western New York at the Bills Stadium. I don't know the name of the stadium, so I'm not going to act like I know what the name of the stadium is. They build a new one anywhere. But the Ravens will not have Zay Flowers, even though John Harbaugh said it might be a chance for him to play. He's listed as doubtful at the moment, so it doesn't feel like he's going to play. That's going to be a big loss. This one, man, literally anyone can win. Nothing about this game will surprise me. I think it's supposed to snow in Buffalo on Sunday, so I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as I originally thought it was going to be. To me, the keys in this game aren't even the quarterbacks. I think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson cancel each other out. I think this is going to be on what running backs have better games. It's going to be Derrick Henry, or is it going to be James Cook? Derrick Henry absolutely destroyed the Bills in the first time they met earlier this season when they got blown out at M&T Bank Stadium. But I just believe, I've said it all year, and this is no anything bad on the Ravens. I think Lamar is going to play well. It would stun me, actually, if they lose because of Lamar Jackson. I just feel like he's going to have a great game. But I think this is just the Bills' time to make it to the Super Bowl. I think that this is their best chance. I just love the way they've been playing. They're at home, too. So I feel a lot better than being at the crib. I think that this is going to be a close game. I'm going to say 24-21, 24-21. Bills. I think that they'll have just a little bit more in the tank, but if Derrick Henry has a monster game, then I don't see how. If Derrick Henry goes off, I don't think the Bills have a shot in hell. So I think they need to slow Derrick Henry down. Go ahead, Courtney.
Anti-black.
As I just said, I think he'll be great.
No, I can't. I won't stand for it. I won't stand for it. I said it earlier in the week that like there's narrative wise, there's obviously so much more at stake for Lamar here. He's had to work so hard to get to this point, of his career where people aren't doubting him so much. And I feel like, again, if he loses this game, it's just going to set him back. Even though I should have looked this up earlier, and that's on me. Playoff records for Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
That's actually a stat I should have looked up too.
Yeah.
I'll bring it up real quick.
Please. Thank you. But no, and regardless of, honestly, I feel like it's not that far apart, which is why this is important. There's so much more at stake for Lamar here, and that's shitty because Josh Allen is not going to be I said it earlier. He didn't have that much to work with to begin with. No excuses. Okay, first off, this is the matchup. I hate the way the brackets are because this is the matchup that we deserve in a championship game. Okay, and the fact that it seems to always come down into the divisional rounds makes me sick to my stomach.
Well, blame the king of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, for that.
Yeah, I do.
Mike,
But
you
yeah,
got the
So
reference?
so Lamar Jackson is 3-4 in the playoffs. Josh Allen is 6-5.
Okay, it's very close. Very close.
yeah.
So you got Ravens, Courtney. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens. Yeah, sorry, I just feel not sorry, but like I'm not sorry. I feel like Lamar's got so much more to work with, and that's not it. I feel like Josh Allen has to do more in order for his team to win, and I feel like the Ravens defense can get to Josh Allen.
All right.
I feel like
Mikey,
I'm
who you
fully
got,
on
Mike?
board. I'm fully on board with the Baltimore Ravens being this year's Super Bowl champs. That's who I want to see win it all. So I'm 100% on board with Lamar. But I think it's just going to come down to which quarterback tweaks the least, because they are both known to have moments where they just completely tweak, whether it's a terrible interception or a fumble and the most inopportune time. So it's going to be a very close game. This is obviously the game of the week. I wish this shit was tomorrow. But I'm riding with the Ravens because I want to see the Ravens win the Super Bowl this year.
So cool. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not